A very, very happy Teachers' Day. Welcome to all of you. And today we have a very special person. I know that, the invite says a teacher's journey, but she's a very non conventional teacher. She's been a leader, she's been a trailblazer, and of course, she's inspired a lot of lives. So, her name is Nirmala Venkatesan. She is the founder trustee of Spark a Change Foundation. She is a CA by qualification, a social change maker by profession. She had a great career and she had a very happy family, and a strong need to actually look beyond led her to a journey to find her calling. She's always believed in the transformative power of meaningful education. Education needs to be more about assimilation and about assessment. Children from low income communities, who form the largest part of the student population, do not have the adequate exposure to the right kind of learning inputs and seriously hampers their growth prospects. Most of them, being the first generation learners, need the right kind of mentorship, guidance, and encouragement to stay in the system. While change does not happen overnight, it can definitely happen with small concrete steps. Also, I'm very happy to have Nirmala here, and we will listen from her journey of where she is right now and what she's doing with Spark Change Foundation. Welcome, Nirmala.
Thank you so much, Hema, for giving me this platform, and a very, very happy Teachers' Day to all of you watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to come on board. I've known Hema for 5 years now,
5 years.
And we met as part of Spark a Change when she came in to volunteer for a corporate program, and we hit it off very well since then, and we've been in touch. Thank you so much for having me on board.
Pleasure's all ours. Yes, so Nirmala, tell us, you have a foundation and you have a lot of people. What is Spark a Change all about? How has your journey been? How did you land up where you are today?
Okay, so Spark a Change Foundation, I think the journey began when I was very young, in the sense that I've always felt that education needs to be more about the whys, answering questions on how and why, than about clearing exams. But growing up, those thoughts were always there, never manifested into anything. When I had my own children and they went into, alternative schooling, IG boards and other, where there was so much more creativity and freedom to the learning, one ended up thinking, what about the children who do not have access? And what about children who are not exposed to these kind of things? They are equally intelligent. Why not give them those opportunities? So life presented itself with a stage where, I had time on my hands and there was always this feeling of wanting to do something. Started something close by in a park to mentor kids who just walked in. And slowly and organically, we've grown. And today we are at 5 centers pre-COVID, so to say. 5 centers, 500 plus children, about 100 plus volunteers, and it's been a great journey so far. And we've had programs all around the well-being and the education of the children who are under our care.
That's amazing to hear, and congratulations for this journey. I'm sure it didn't come easy and overnight. It came with its set of challenges for you. So, Nirmala, also tell us, since you have a very non-conventional perspective about education, what are the kind of programs that you have with, and what kind of children come to Spark a Change Foundation?
So children who come to us are all from the low-income backgrounds. They're all school-going children. Today, most children want to go to school. Most parents want to educate their children. So a lot of children, most of them who come to us are first-gen learners. Parents are both working. Children go to these low-budget private schools or municipal schools. And as has been shown report after report by ASAR and all the reports that are being churned out, there is definitely a learning gap in these children. And the longer they live with the gaps become that much more difficult to bridge. So what we try and do at Spark a Change primarily is to bridge those learning gaps, especially in English and math. And as the children grow older, we also expose them to life skill classes, career awareness programs, digital literacy programs, mentorship programs to help them land a job. So the journey is essentially one of a hand-holding from campus to career, So
Yeah.
the ultimate goal is to see all the children under our care, well-placed and doing jobs that are up to their aptitudes and ones that help them fulfill their potential.
Which is so amazing. Yeah. So, Nirmala, you tell me, when I hear this, I am interested because I also understand that these are life skills that you all teach them. So, they are not the usual, of course, apart from the usual curriculum, you all also get them oriented to aspects of digital interactions, debates, quizzes, where these children get a lot of exposure as compared to the other children who go to normal school. So, how is a child coming out of Spark a Change different from a normal school, child studying a normal school?
Firstly, we are not an alternative to a school. What we try to do is give the child a more holistic experience, which probably his schools are unable to provide given the kind of sizes, infrastructure challenges, and a host of other things, So what we try and do is to bring in mentors like me and you, interact with the children, to teach the children. And we found that people coming in to mentor these children, firstly, builds the child's self-esteem big time. Confidence straight away jumps up 2 notches. And the child is more willing to learn. There are concepts that are taught not from the point of view of an examination, but from point of view of life learning. For example, mathematics, when children are taught addition, subtraction, multiplication, and related to real life, to tell them, okay, when you go to the vegetable market and sabzi costs so much per kilo, how is it that you would spend, what it is that would you bring back? So they understand how math can be related to real life. Then the interest begins in wanting to learn. And similarly for language, we try and do a lot of role plays, speaking opportunities. We expose them to a batch of our kids are also going in for the Trinity speech and drama exams, and they fared very well. We have exposed children to debates, Sanofi quiz, where our children won 3 times in a row. And it's so encouraging to see the potential these children have, and all they need is just the right kind of opportunities which we are trying to provide to them.
Yeah. So, Nirmala, also, how has it grown? Because, of course, we met when you were younger, as in the organization was younger, and now it's matured over time. How has the organization grown?
Okay, so when we started, we are 5 years old. When we started, it was primarily about 150 kids. And what we were doing was English and math. And we have not grown, I would say we've grown more vertically, in the sense that we've grown in terms of number of programs that we are looking to do for the child, rather than, the number of centers that you look to open and reach out to more children. We've thought that the same set of kids, we are today at 500 children, started off with only English and math. Today we have programs running right from the basic English math to intensive coaching, where we are prepping the kids for tutorials clear their board exams in-house. So we have a whole set of volunteers, we have a whole timetable set. So the go out for tuitions.
Right.
We collaborated with other NGOs to run life skill classes, to run career guidance programs, career awareness programs. After 10th standard, all our children do their MSCIT courses. Children who have, who, like I mentioned, are doing Trinity. So we've kind of grown organically around the well-being of the child. Each time we see that this child is smart, but he's not academically inclined, then we sit down to think, okay, what else for this kid can we do? So that is the way our programs have,
Evolved.
over the years.
Yeah.
Evolved over the years. So it's a journey. It's a journey, and we interact a lot with the parents of the children. We have periodic meetings. So we've had sessions on child abuse. We've had sessions on parental difficulties, mental health. All of these things we try and cover. So yeah, we've come
Long way.
from doing the basic English and math to a comprehensive theme. Now the center of which is the child.
Yeah. So this also brings me to a question. What were the kind of challenges you faced with parents or your in your initial days, to set up this organization? What were the kind of challenges?
To set up the organization, I still remember the first day when I went into the garden. There were no other volunteers. It was just me, and I handed out, pamphlets to my building security and buyers and drivers and all, saying free tuitions for kids in English and math. So the first day I had a bunch of about 6-7 children, and only me. Children ranging from 9th grade to 2nd grade. They all turned up. And that we did that day was a storytelling session, and just this thing about, aapka naam kya hai, what do you like, which actor and all. And then by the end of that month, we were like 50 kids, and there were people who walked in saying, I also want to teach. And we were at about 10-12 volunteers. And challenges that we faced is more, one, getting the parents to understand that just getting an education for the child is not enough. Today we are seeing that, out of most of the children who pass out even after 10th, which is only 30% of the children who actually go into school, pass out of 10th. Out of that 30% also, there are very few who are actually capable or employable, so to say. So they lack basic conversation skills. They lack basic understanding of concepts. So how are they going to end up the job? So just saying that I'm sending my child to a school is not going to be enough. So getting the parents to understand that what we are doing, while is not actual curriculum tuition, so to say, this becomes more important in the longer term for the child than actually sending him to a tuition class. Getting the parents to understand that was important. And a lot of children come from backgrounds where they are abused. The parent frustrations all come on to the child. And we had to, speak to the parents about how to deal with children, how to, keep your pressures away from the child. Another challenge that we faced in the initial years was children would stay with us till they were in the 8th. 9th and 10th, the reality of the day is your board exams. So everybody would walk away saying tuitions join karna hai and time nahi milta hai and all of those things. So then when we started the in-house tutoring, it took a lot of convincing to the parents to say that, no, we will mentor your kids, and your kids are in safer hands here because the group size is smaller, there is individual attention. It took us 2 years of successive good results for parents to come in. Today, we are at a situation where children are joining in the 6th standard because they know there is a tutorial in-house from 8 to, further on.
Yeah, so that's become your USP. Yeah.
Yes. So now that's the flip that's happened. And our children have been, results have been extremely encouraging for the children.
No, I can tell you because I have spent some time with your children, and my God, they are so smart. For their age, they knew a lot of things what we didn't know. So, which came as a surprise to us, but it also told us how well you are grooming your children.
Thank,
So congratulations for that,
thank you.
Nirmala. Nirmala, also tell us, is setting up a foundation complex? If our viewers, if they somebody wants to set up their own foundation based on the cause that they are passionate towards, is that easy, complex?
Like someone mentioned to me, setting up a foundation is like riding a tiger. You get off. So, it's the whole process of setting it up isn't difficult. And I think a lot of laws now are undergoing a change. So there is a single window clearance and all that. I'm
Yeah,
not too competent on what
yeah, which is okay.
laws are. But it is just that once it is set up, there's no shutting it down. So,
Yeah.
more than actually going through the process of the paperwork of setting it up, I think in your mind you need to be very clear that you're in for the long haul.
It's a commitment.
Yes.
It's a commitment
So
for
you
life.
can't put in your papers and walk away or things like that. So this
Yeah.
is in for the long haul. So that is something that people need to be clear about.
And ready for also.
Ready for also.
So I also wanted to ask you that what are your views on education? Because your vision for Sparkle Change is very clear. As in, I have seen and is growing positively. So, what's your perspective about the education right now and the right to education for children?
Education to me means something that the child should enjoy. What the child is being taught needs to be relevant to the current times or to even the future. A lot of things you don't really understand. Why do you need to remember dates of a whole host of wars that happened in the past?
Yeah.
Never understand that when I was a child. I would love to read about the history of why somebody did what they did and
Yes.
repercussions were. And what do you take away from those things that happened in the past? Instead of, when did that war start and when did it end and when was somebody born and when did. So, the relevance of what you're teaching the children needs to be more dynamic. And children need to be taught how to think. I think somewhere we've kind of lost out on, So critical thinking, building critical thinking skills is so key.
Yeah.
A lot of children do not, it's very sad. While they are so sharp, so smart, they are unable to think because they haven't been taught. They haven't been told that this can be taught or of in this fashion also.
Right.
We are very straitjacketed when it comes to
Yes.
what you teach and what is supposed to be learned and how it is supposed to be answered. So
Absolutely.
a lot more flexibility around it would help, definitely.
So, Nirmala, when I was young, I used to always wonder, they used to give these drawing books with boxes or figures, and you had to color within the lines. And I would always wonder, why do I have to color within the lines? So, like you say, it is ingrained. At least when we had education, we didn't have exposure. Internet was not so easily available then. So we've learned to color within the lines, and then somewhere we had to break those shackles. So it is great to see that you are imbibing these aspects from the beginning.
True. And, I have seen in one of the municipal schools that we were working with, children were told to color, you paint the sky or paint a scenery or draw and color a scenery. And there were a few kids who painted the sky red and, whatever. And their paintings were like kept aside because aisa nahi hota hai. But why nahi hota hai? In his mind, the sky can be there. The sky is actually of so many different hues. It's but a reflection of light, right? So why does, and what happens is the science of what the sky's color is comes later. But to a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old, what you do by putting that aside is kill his enthusiasm. You know, he will never want to try. The child want to try again because he's scared, you know, his paper being thrown aside saying galat hai. So that mentality, I think, needs to change. Somewhere we need to become, as educators, a lot more non-judgmental about, you know, how things need to be or how we need to think, and let them flourish. If they are not learning, then you're not teaching them right. It's not because they are not bright. That's something that I've always believed in.
After listening to all this, I feel like becoming a child again.
You know, a lot of times I feel that way too. You know, gosh, you know, there have been so many teachers who have influenced when I was young, but it was more the teacher who influences. It needs to move from the teacher who influences to the system, which is, you know, partnering that influence in a positive way. You know, that needs to happen. And
so we have questions in the audience, and we have Jaya asking how to deal with special kids.
How to deal with special kids. Honestly, we are not an organization that works with special kids too much. But what we have done is we've partnered with organizations and had sessions for our volunteers where you can identify or what is it that look out for, you know, in children with special needs. How do I identify that this is not a child who is who learns differently? How do I identify such children? And then we try and talk to the parents to get them assessed and move them to other organizations which cater to children with special needs going forward.
So Jaya is also a teacher, I know. So happy Teachers Day to Jaya as well. And Nirmala, tell us, you know, now this question is a little personal, but I want to know what is a learning that you've had about yourself and about the people around you whilst you were on this journey.
Okay, one that I was making a big deal out of too many things, you know. So it's not as complicated as we make it out to be. I mean, when you can see what these children are going through and yet manage to smile at the end of the day, manage to bring you that little rose and say, Miss, aap kaise ho? You know, you realize you are so much more blessed, and that you've taken yourself and your life too seriously, probably. You know, that is one big takeaway from this for me.
No, I think that takeaway will be for me as well. So we tend to fall under that, you know, trap where we think we have the most problems in life, and you feel
Absolutely.
that, you know, things are worthless. But yes, we do take our lives too seriously. There's more gratitude around what we can have when
Yes.
we do.
You know, there are very small things like I keep telling my boys, you know, you crib about, this is not made for breakfast or this is not made for lunch. When you see children who
I also do.
You know, there was this saying, right? When I was sad that I didn't have shoes, to a man who didn't have legs. So, you know, that kind of has been a great learning here. It doesn't take too much to be happy.
Small things in life contribute.
Yes.
So, you know, it also amazes me because a lot of your work is with a lot of people. So, how has COVID impacted you, your work, the organization, and the kids, of course?
Okay. So, COVID was a whammy. I mean, no one saw it coming. So, as far as Spark a Change is concerned, I think I'm super grateful to all my volunteers who so seamlessly were willing to move to online and take that chance ki, you know, WhatsApp pe padha lenge, Zoom they were willing to learn, Google Meet they were willing to learn. We all were navigating through, you know, unknown territory. And the children who, we've had children who moved to villages and who would call saying, you know, Didi humko bhi padhna hai, so I will want to study from there, can you help me through? So yeah, while the physical centers are not there, so you miss those hugs and those that bonding that happens, and actually seeing those children, patting them on the back and everything. And for us, all our volunteers, we're like family. So there are a lot of friendships that were built over the 5 years, and also you miss that, you know, chit chat after class or brainstorming, sitting together in a coffee shop and brainstorming. But other than that, I think most of our programs, we have now taken it online, and more than 60% of our children are able to attend. For those who are not able to attend, we are trying to find ways and means, you know, to provide mobile recharges, to provide them devices, to find donors who are doing that, you know. So yeah, that process is on. And we've been distributing ration kits ever since lockdown started. So we have about 410, 12 odd families of children, of Spark a Change children, and we've been distributing ration kits to them fortnightly since March. And monthly we are doing hygiene kit distributions. We are providing the children stationery kits every month. Now we are moving on to raising funds for mobile recharges, digital devices, and things like that. So
that is really amazing, Nirmala. Nirmala, I also want to take the opportunity of asking you that the audiences who are watching us live right now and probably who will watch the repost later, how can they really get involved with the organization? Is there something we can do to contribute to the cause as well?
oh yes, you can e-teach. Um, you know, 1 hour, 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week is not too much time, but it makes a world of difference to the child. So, and a lot of people I know, I am not a teacher. Like you mentioned, I am a chartered accountant by background.
Yes.
I have not really taught. I do not possess any educational, you know, a teaching educational qualification, so to say. But a lot of us, what happens is, this is basic math and English that you have to teach kids. You can do art, drawing, dance. So any kind of interaction with the child positively impacts the child. So that is something that you can sign up for. You can help do collection drives for devices and or fund mobile recharges. You can sponsor stationery for the children. You can help us with our ration distribution for the kids. And you can, if a lot of you are into corporates and all that, you can help us get CSR funding for all the work that we do and programs that we run. So there is a lot that, but you can start with teaching. It's not too much. Giving time is the most important thing that can,
and the most precious thing is there.
the most precious and the most impactful, I would say. Not to, not that any others are less required, but you straight away see the transformation that you're bringing in by that one interaction with.
And I can vouch for it. I am not sure, as in, I can't really comment on how much the children learned from that duration when I was teaching them at the center. But for me, it was, it was like a self development. I don't have words to express because it's a time in my life I will always cherish, you know. And I already have people saying they want to join. So, how do they reach out to you? Is there a method?
There is a website, sparkachangefoundation.org. They can email on the website. There is a volunteer form that they can fill in there, or you can pass on my number. They can get in touch with me personally. Not.
So, guys, now you'll know how you all can get in touch with Nirmala for any kind of contribution that you all want to do from your side. So before we have the last interaction or sum up with Nirmala, I really want to show you a small video on Spark a Change. It's a very impactful video, and I hope you'll like it. Is the sound there?
Bring in a change in the lives of children from lower income communities who are making the effort to go to school, to get educated and to get somewhere in life. These kids who come to us are all children of housemaids, drivers, vegetable vendors. So these are all not children they're not street kids. These are all children who have aspirations, who want to get somewhere in life, and Spark a Change aids them in their journey.
यहाँ आने के बाद मेरा बड़ा वाला बच्चा इतना खुश है, मम्मी वहाँ पे गणित और इंग्लिश मेरे को बहुत आया है, तो इसलिए यहाँ से मैंने बोला बेटा देखो यहाँ से आपको बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। आप जैसे अच्छा मौका मतलब मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, आप ये मौका को छोड़ना। मैं सिर्फ यही चाहती हूँ।
What we believe in is the ability to converse and to comprehend English is very important to have a future job or any kind of vocation that one gets into.
मेरी रीडिंग बहुत ज़्यादा गंदी है, बहुत ज़्यादा गंदी थी। जब मैं स्पार्क अ चेंज में नहीं पढ़ती थी, जब मैं स्पार्क अ चेंज क्लासेस ज्वाइन की, फिर मेरी रीडिंग में बहुत ज़्यादा इम्प्रूव होने लग गया और फिर मैं रीडिंग बहुत अच्छी करने लगी।
In the absence of SAC, what happens is these kind of children coming from municipal or private schools don't really end up going beyond the 11th, 12th standard because they can't cope. Given the fact that no child can be demoted till 8th grade, he will pass. He will come up to the 8th standard. In the 9th standard is when the child fails, he is demoted or he is retained in the class, which the child cannot understand why, because he has gone through 8 years of a good education according to him. His parents cannot understand why. So it pulls down the child's self-esteem big time.
सैक से मैं उसको सैक को थैंक यू बोलना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि सैक से ही हम लोग को पढ़ने की हिम्मत आती है। हम लोग को अगर पढ़ने का मन नहीं करा अंदर से, कुछ लोग हम लोग को मोटिवेट करते हैं कि आपको पढ़ना चाहिए, उससे उनको जो पढ़ने की मोटिवेशन है उसको चाहिए।
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, Nirmala. So
My pleasure.
to sum it all, what message do you have for the younger generation who will be watching this video?
Message for the younger generation. I think as a country, we can progress only if all of us can progress. So make sure that together with your own, you help others progress too. Then and only then will there be success and progress for a nation. It can't happen singularly, and it can't happen by any one person, one entity. It has to be together. The collective force is what will propel this nation forward. And I'm sure that will happen because I see a lot of youngsters now stepping up to join the social sector, to try and volunteer, to bring in change. And with colleges bringing in the community service angle to it, I'm sure it'll happen. It'll happen. So, yes.
So well said. For me, the takeaway is that when I progress ahead, I take one more hand with me
Exactly.
and progress.
Yes.
So, as it said, you know, teaching is not just a job, but a life journey. Although the contact with the student may be brief, as single as a single year or 3 months, but the impact is felt across lifetime.
True.
So thank you so much, Nirmala. It was a pleasure to have you on board and pleasure to have a discussion with you. I hope that your conversation will touch few more lives who will watch this talk.
Thank you so much, Hema, for having me on board. And thank you, everyone who's been listening in. And happy Teachers' Day to everybody once again. Thank you.
Yes, guys, happy Teachers' Day for all those audiences who are new on the platform. Just to introduce myself, I am Dr. Hema Bajaj, and the channel is called Lose Your Blues. We bring in a real life hero every Saturday, and our hero today is Nirmala. So, if you are that hero, please reach out to me. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.